What's going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for another third-party review, and today we're looking at the KFC E.A.V.I medal, E.A.V.I medal, Citizen Stack, sometimes improperly referred to as Citizen Stacks, but nope, this is Citizen Stack, and yeah, he is basically a masterpiece Ultra Magnus. So let's get some of the nitpicks out of the way real quick. You can see certain things on here. You know, he's got some paint wear that easily happens on this guy. There's a couple parts that like to scrape together, it makes paint. That can be fixed for me personally. The other thing, he doesn't roll super well. This back wheel here kind of always sits off the ground a little just because of the connection. But whatever, I don't really roll my toys around. I do like that you can articulate the cab, but it is fastened on with a screw, so there's no way to get it off. Yeah, he is a pretty awesome looking Ultra Magnus. Unfortunately, you can see right through the windows there because right on the back is his head. And yeah, it's another small gripe that his head is not hidden away any better than that. And I saw a Air of the Dog, I believe it was, made a video on YouTube that actually he's modified this cabin. It's really awesome and I wish it looked that way, but this is not bad. Let's get on with the other thing that kind of sucks. When you lift him up, the cab does that, and I've confirmed that with a couple different people. It's not just mine. That's just the nature of the beast. Oh well, don't pick up your Citizen Stack. Going through here, we can see on the top, hopefully, his gun here has fallen through, but it sits in here, and these two little, like, blue clips in here, you push the arms closed and the gun stores in there. But that does eliminate you from putting a car on the top. That said, car on the top is not terribly convincing to me because none of the tires are actually touching anything. You're just kind of resting on the two bumpers. So that doesn't really matter to me much. Opening up the back of the trailer here, we can see we do have his ramps, and they are pretty nice. Any car that sits on it, just like MP Optimus though, is not really touching the ground right. But he does look oh so good when you put one of those MP cars inside him. So I suppose if you really are okay with it and don't mind that it's not touching like I do, you could have something like that, and you know what? He serves his purpose as a car carrier. I can't complain about that very much. Let's do a quick turn around here so you can see the front. I do like the big, you know, brush guard that he's got on the front of the car, the bull bars. That's pretty cool. You can of course take these off and put them on the front. I did that for some pictures. I'm not going to do it here. I don't really care for how that looks. Finally, for his truck mode here, if you're one of those people who really like the fact that the original Ultra Magnus could pivot his arms down to, you know, kind of work like a car carrier, you can do that here too. You just kind of separate these pieces here and hopefully not separate them too much in the process, because once you separate those pieces, things become a lot looser. But you can see doing that actually lets you angle this down so you can pretend you're rolling the car all the way up, I suppose. Yeah, if that's your thing, that's cool. So for some quick size comparisons here, we've got them by the G2 side swipe, and here is blue streak, silver streak, whatever you want to call them, for our cars. Of course, the biggest one to compare him to is going to be MP10 Optimus, who is a separable cab and sort of the basis of the upcoming Ultra Magnus. And I gotta tell you, the size between these cabs is not so noticeably different as I thought it was going to be. So that's not bad. And overall, I think Optimus from cab to trailer is about an inch longer than Citizen Stack here. And of course, finally, what is it reviewing a Season 3 character without good old Rodimus Prime here? Love him, hate him, he belongs with Ultra Magnus. There you go. I think he looks just as good with Ultra Magnus as he does with Optimus. Alright, so let's get this guy transformed into his robot mode. First thing we're going to do is we're going to start by taking these two pieces off. Take this and kind of pull it away and flip it up. Do that on both sides here, like so. The next thing to do, and this side's actually done, is to carefully pull these pieces away. And this is probably the hardest part. There we go. Once we do that, we got that separated. Disconnect the backs here, like so. And we'll go ahead and work on the back of the Ultra Magnus. You can see where one of the rub parts are. This is his belt, and it just kind of rubs the paint there when you're trying to transform it. If you're careful, it won't happen, but it's pretty easy to make that happen. The next thing to do is take the legs here, split them, and fold this all down. Now, what I like to do is grab from this inside red piece, because I don't trust pulling on this, let me see if I can show you, this tiny piece of plastic to support this. I think that's a horrible idea. I'm not sure if the person who owned it before me did it or not, but I can see some stress marks there. Never pull on the blue things, pull on this red part, and it is a little bit tough, but you'll see that channel, we have to get that all the way up. And this is definitely, okay, that is definitely the hardest part. It's not, you know, hard in terms of trying to pop it off, but it's definitely an awkward area to grip. So we'll do that again on this other side here. And this one leg works better than the other for me. But there we go, we pop that on up, and once we have that like this, make sure your knee guards are out of the way here, so you don't want to rotate the legs all the way up yet. Close up the doors, then fold the knee guards down in front of it, and then we can go ahead and push these forward, and they do click into position. So you got this big jumbled mess here, and we'll get to all this in a second. We'll rotate the waist like this so it's looking the right way. And we might as well finish up the legs. The instructions tell you to go on the other thing, but why have these panels sitting open like this? So just fold this silver piece in, fold this closed, and you can see the silver piece kind of slides right back here to fill in the back of the legs a bit. And all this stuff will, again, tab right into place. So it should look pretty solid like this. So I'll do that another time here. Fold this around, and it just tabs into place. So we got that all set. Now we're just gonna need to raise the camera here so we can work on this top mess. What we want to do is take this piece here and flip these two little things as far open as you can get them. Now the next thing to do is take this piece, and you can see we got these tabs here, and they're gonna plug into this as we close that up, and you can see we've just made that connection. So pull the cab, whoops, before we pull the cab down, what we want to do is fold in these little like gas tank air brake things, and then we can fold the cab down, and you want it to sit as flush into here as you possibly can, and it should fold back. And once you have that in position, you're going to want to take these little tabs and slide them right on top of the little red waist piece here, and that locks the top part in position. And carefully flip this little belt piece on up and in. Make sure you don't hit the brush guard there in the front. So that basically finishes that. Alright, so I had to make a complete adjustment on the tripod here to make sure we got everything in frame. So take this, and it's going to spin around and clip into the back of the cab to further secure it to the lower section. And do that again on the other side. Come up here, push these down as far as you can. It really doesn't matter if they stick up, but whatever. So, and then we flip his head around to the other side, because we've been looking at the back the entire time. And we still need more height on this guy because he is big. Now, take this and push this all the way up. And it's pretty neat how they did this. This is actually an extension piece to get what you need for the truck, but make his stacks not ridiculously long in robot mode. So we can take his hands here and just kind of slide this plate on back. And there we go, one hand. And if you prefer it the other way, you can put it this way and everything still functions with the hand like this. I personally like it as kind of like a wrist guard type thing. And there we go. We've got Ultra Magnus here in his robot mode. And he is an enormous enormous toy, and I really like him. Let me put him back here. One thing that I had to do though is he comes with light piped eyes, but there's no place on his head for light piping, so I hate when they do that, so I painted this just to make it look a bit more standout. Otherwise, I'll put a picture in the end what it looks like. And I just realized I forgot one tiny little thing here. We've got to flip these on out, like so. And that actually completes the look at his feet, but I'm so busy looking at the top because of how big he is, I forgot about them. And if you want to, of course, he does come with this, can open, and you do have a matrix compartment, so if you have a matrix from an MP10, it'll fit right in there and you can close it on up, and now Ultra Magnus has the matrix of leadership like he did in the movie. We should probably put these back on too because, you know, it makes them look nice. There we go. Articulation for this guy is pretty awesome. Hopefully I can get it all on screen. You do have a huge range of head motion because of the ball joint. Not really looking down because of all the stuff that's in the way. Oh well, what can you do? Arms, great swivel here, a 360 here. I think later versions maybe had a ratchet in the arms, but you know what? This one works just fine. The elbow, of course, 90s and then swivels. The wrist has articulation. The waist has articulation. The leg has your universal joint in and out and back and forth. You do have a very stiff knee, which is also on a swivel down here. And then of course you can rotate these. So that's it for the articulation on this guy. Looking at his gun real quick, you flip the handle down and it does your typical masterpiece, plug it into his hand and close it on up thing. When the wrist guard's like this, it's a little bit in the way, but it's really not that bad. So let's get our size comparison on. Of course, here is the MP10 Optimus, and you can see he just towers over Optimus, and some people do have a problem with that. I personally am okay with it, and I don't think the MP Ultra Magnus actually is going to be all that much different. Of course, we got the MP cars, which we were looking at here, and they are just tiny compared to him. So, yeah. But that's okay. Again, it's up to you what scale works with your collection and stuff. And finally, I mean, what's the Season 3 again without putting them next to Rodimus Prime? And I really actually think that that looks good together. I like the idea of Ultra Magnus being huge and bulky. So let's actually take this guy and we'll bring him back to his truck mode because there are a couple tricks that are worth knowing about as we do that. So we'll make that happen here too, and we'll call it a review, I guess. So we'll take off these again. We can put them to the side here. I like to flip his head backwards. You don't really have to, but I don't like it showing in the truck mode. We'll take this and make sure that we push these arm guard things forward the best we can, like so. Then pull these on down, and once we get down, you'll have extended out those spacers. You could hear it. There we go. We'll disconnect the tops here, and you can kind of bring them around. I guess we can put them together on all accounts, and that'll help you make sure that you do have everything lined up properly. And don't worry too much about these little blue spacers. They can move on this arm to adjust to the right place, but I do recommend being careful. But we'll get there in a second. When it comes to this part, what I always do is flip this piece around first, which then gives you access to get in there and get your fingers on these little blue tabs, and make sure you're holding the truck forward like this to make it easier to sling these tabs out. And then you can rotate this whole assembly on out like that, and go ahead and fold these up and fold this little piece into its little socket right down there. So now we'll take the truck, we'll pull it out of here, and we'll pull out the little chrome gas tanks. They'll probably close back up on us, but that's okay. So you can take this and swing his legs all the way down like this, and we'll basically start focusing on the back half of the toy. Now, I always leave these back pieces out, and I'll show you why, like this, but we can flip the front toes on in. Just leave the back ones down temporarily. So what we're gonna do is open up the sides here of the truck, bring it all the way down, flip this silver panel piece in, and we can start swinging this around. Make sure you're clearing everything so you're not going to hurt anything. Flip this so you can open it, and then push this. Again, I recommend pushing directly on the red piece to push it till it snaps into position. And we can do that again for the other side here, like this. Flip it around, flip this open, making sure we're clearing pieces. Open that, and then carefully. This is definitely a hard toy to work with because it is so darn big that it does make it difficult to kind of hold and get things on camera while you're doing this, or even when it's not on camera, it's just difficult to work with. So once you got that, we can kind of push all this stuff together down here, and we can finish rotating the truck pieces on around like so. Now this is the reason I said to keep this open, because you do have these two little tabs right here, and they're incredibly difficult to get to tab together. So what I find is easiest is once you have this open, getting right up in between here where his feet are, and figuring out how they're supposed to go, and then you can kind of supplement pushing on the side of the trailer with pushing on these, so like that, to get it together. Once you have that, then you can go ahead and flip these feet on in. Just pushing on the side of the trailer, I found that these pieces flex too much, so not worth doing. So we'll put him down. Let me realign the camera here so we can actually focus on the toy again. We'll bring these all the way back and around. Make sure that you have, when this is down like this, make sure that those blue pieces are aligned with this tab, so we do have to move them a little bit. Just kind of slide them carefully, and they will plug right on in to the top here, like so. And I think I moved this one just a little too much. Plug it in to make that secure connection. We can now secure the arms together in all the different places that they secure, and then just plug in these square pegs into these square holes here. Fold this on up, and the last thing to do is to take these and fit them back in place on both sides. So there you go. He's back into his truck mode. Just attach all your accessories and stuff when you're ready, and he's done. So yeah, this is T2RX6. I really like this toy. I think he's a awesome Masterpiece Ultra Magnus. If the Masterpiece itself is going to be better is yet to be determined. Smokestacks. But yeah, I mean, I don't like the butt flap thing going on with that Masterpiece. So this one actually may have the better aesthetic, at least as far as I see right now, but I guess we'll see. I certainly don't think that he's a bad Masterpiece for his price tag. So this is T2RX6. Hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next week.